So, today on our mental life education, the focus is on how to change the behavior of our mental life, the behavior of our thinking towards issues of life. Your life cannot improve if you are not changing the behavior of your thinking. Your life cannot be transformed if you are not changing the behavior of your thinking towards people, the behavior of your thinking towards yourself, the behavior of your thinking towards problem, the behavior of your thinking towards God, and the behavior of your thinking towards issues of life. This is the fundamental of mental life education. You cannot change the behavior of your mental life or the behavior of your thinking without the Word of God. You cannot change it without the principles of life. We'll spend time to learn the principles of life and how to apply them in changing the behavior of our thinking. Most relationships have collapsed because of the behavior of the partners, the behavior of the thinking of the partners in the relationship. Most marriages have torn apart because of the behavior of the thinking of one of the partners or two of the partners involved in the marriage. Families have broken apart because of the behavior of their thinking as members of the family. Individuals' life have become miserable because of the thinking behavior of that individual. Many have committed suicide. Many have landed up in prison because of the behavior of their thinking towards issues of life and circumstances. Our thinking behavior or the behavior of thinking controls our outside behavior or our overt behavior and verbal behavior. So if you can change the behavior of your thinking, you can change your verbal reactions and behavioral reactions. We found so many people who go to church and at the end of 31st will make a lot of resolutions. God, I am not going to commit this sin again. 2 weeks later, they will end up doing the same, even worse than what they promised God not to do. Why do we have this phenomenon? It is because of the fact that people want God to change them without changing the behavior of their thinking. People promise God they are not going to do something again when their thinking behavior, which is causing that behavior, overt behavior, has not been changed. Yet people promise God they want to change their life. God cannot change your life if He's not changing the mental behavior or the behavior of your thinking towards issues of life. And so the Word of God, the purpose of the Word of God is to help us use the Word to change the behavior of our thinking. So if you are unhappy, what you need is to change the behavior of your thinking. If you are worried, what you need to do is to change the behavior of your thinking with the Word of God. If you are afraid of anything, at the moment you use the Word of God to change the behavior of your thinking towards that particular thing that you are afraid of, the fear will leave. Worry is a sign that the behavior of your thinking must be changed. Fear is actually telling you that the behavior of your thinking must be changed by the Word of God. Bitterness is telling you that the behavior of your thinking must be changed by the Word of God. Anger is telling you that the behavior of your thinking towards the object of your anger must be changed by the word of God. Jealousy is telling you that the behavior of your thinking must be changed. Negative emotion is a reminder from God that there are some behavior in your thinking that must be changed by the word of God. So learning how to use the word of God to change the behavior of your thinking is very, very important. Bible says the word of God judges and help examine the behavior of our thinking. So, if you learn how to use the word of God to examine the behavior of your thinking and correct the behavior of your thinking, you will experience the power of God in your life. So, it is important for us to learn the process involved in changing the behavior of our thinking. First, in order to change the behavior of your thinking, you must know the dimensions of faith. Faith involves receiving the promises of God. There are more than thousands of promises of God in the Bible. Thousands of them. The Lord will fight your battles for you. Stand still and watch the deliverance of the Lord. Be of good cheer, for I overcome the world. So, for instance, you have a financial difficulty. You have a relationship problem. And as a result, your thinking is behaving towards that problem with worry. So at the moment it is behaving with worry towards the problem, then you know that you need to correct something in your mind. So this word which says, this word of God which says, be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world. The world represents problems. That was Jesus Christ talking. So if you can remember this word, be of good cheer, for I have overcome this problem. And then after remembering this word, you rely on this word to change the behavior of your thinking towards a problem. Then, of course, the worry will leave your mind. The anxiety will leave your mind. The loneliness will leave your mind. And then you begin to be a happy person. The process involved in changing the behavior of our mind is simple. It's a matter of learning the word of God, the promises of God. I'm not talking about the rules and regulations or the religious activities. I'm talking about the promises of God, the word of God that deal with our mind. The promises of God. So when you remember them and then rely upon them, you are actually operating in the realm of faith. And it will cast away the worry. Faith in the word of God cast away worry. The promises of God remove worry from our mind, remove fear from our mind, remove jealousy from our mind, remove bitterness from our mind, remove anger from our mind, remove revenge from our mind, remove anxiety and depression from the mind. Whenever people are under stress, depression, anxiety, it means that they have neglected something, the word of God. They have neglected the use of the word of God in changing the behavior of their mind. Christianity is not religious activity. Christianity is using the word of God, the promises of God, to change the behavior of your thinking towards a lot of things in this world. I am a mental life educationist. We'll continue with our learning in a subsequent video. Subscribe to my channel and tell people to subscribe to this channel. Mental life education. It will transform your life as you continue to study it. You can also become a mental life educationist. Enjoy your day.